Hello my darlings, welcome to a new vlog. I have not started reading anything. I've decided I'm going to do a little tarot card pull to get a prompt. Let's just pull a card. All right, we've got the Seven of Pentacles and the prompt for this one is Seven of Pentacles, a book over 400 fucking pages. Okay, we're going for a book that's over 400 pages. Sweet. Let's go on my Goodreads. I don't know if I can actually sort by pages on here. Nope. Why is it that on my phone I can and then on my computer I cannot? All right, I'm going to have to go back on my phone, which I am recording on. So, oh wait, let me see if maybe my Apple iPad allows me to sort by page number. Want to read? What do I want to read? Give me a man after midnight. Yeah, so this one I can sort. Why can I not sort? Date at, yeah, you mother effer. There's no sort here. But there is sort. Can I come into, all right, one second. Sort, my daughter needs me. So let me just speed run this bitch. All right, sort, number of pages, reverse it, flip it and reverse it. Okay, Parade of Horribles, that is not out. What is this? Okay, I have a book on here. I don't even remember putting it on here. Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan. So I will see if my library has that. That is 545 pages. If they don't have that, there's a book called The Bone Door by Frances White, which is 528. So one of those two. There's also Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez, which is 488. Actually, I'm going to go with that one because that just came into the library. It's in the city library though, so I will be picking it up in about 5 days because I have to trek all the way there. But I'm going to pick that one because that just came in and it's fresh and brand spanking new. So that will be on this reading vlog, and I've got to get going because I'm going to be doing a tarot card reading for my husband's Jesus, that was a bit weird. I was about to say husband's ex-girlfriend. No, my ex-husband's current girlfriend. I've never really read for other people. I only read for myself. I don't think I can read for other people. It's a very different skill. We'll see how I go. But I think she just wants me to teach her how to read tarot rather than actually give her a personal reading. So I'll just show her how I read tarot. I haven't practiced tarot in a few weeks because I had some things happen and it turned me off for a while, but it'd be good to get my tarot cards out, which is why I also got them here because I'm going to be using them today to read for somebody else. But I will see you when I've got more book news for you. I don't know what I'm doing here. I woke up with energy today, can you tell? I'm sure you can tell. I put a rug in my room so I could have something soft and fluffy to sit on while I do my makeup. And this is a new spot for Nova now. We've got The Magician of Tiger Castle by Sachar. So this is about a magician whose spells are drying up, but the princess still believes in him and there's a romance budding, and then the king wants him to make an anti-love potion. And we've got They by Helly, and it says they go for a walk by the playing fields. The anemones are out. So it's about a mother and her 16-year-old daughter living on a small island, and then the mother gets sick. So these are the two books that I picked up today. Hello. Hello, Munchkin. Another heavy rainfall day, but that's okay. Oh, I don't think my plant's gonna make it though. Okay, another big library haul. We've got The Dreaming Child by Karen Blixen. This says it's a gothic, expansive and spellbinding story about a feudal lord and a peasant woman. So grab that. We've got Storm in a Teacup, The Physics of Everyday Life by Helen Siersky. So this is a non-fic. We've got Cat Dragon by Samantha Birch. Look, probably not for me, but thought I'd give it a go. Cozy fantasy book. We've got Moth Dark by Kika Hatsopoulou. So this is YA, but you know, it's fantasy, so thought I would give it a try. Amid Stars and Darkness by Chunny Lynn Fina. I don't know if this is YA or not, but it's sci-fi, so I thought I'd give it a go. Like I said, anything that comes in new I grab. Best Offer Wins by Marisa Kashino. I like the other cover better, so this one is definitely one of my more anticipated reads. And then we've got
The Finest Edge of Twilight by R.A. Salvatore. It says Dungeons and Dragons. So I wanted to give it a go. We'll see. I don't know if it's YA or adult. And then there was this book, The Extraordinary History of Witches by Hazel, Atkinson, illustrated by Pham. I just like, look, I'm a sucker for illustrations, and this just looked gorgeous. Yeah, so I thought I have to give it a go. You know, sometimes with witch stuff, it's stuff I already know, but this one is illustrated, so it gets a looky-loo. So that's today's. Hey, Blue. Hey, Sylvie. Library haul.
Hello guys, it has been over a week since I last saw you, so I have read quite a few books. I've also watched quite a few movies. To sum them up quickly, I watched Mighty Supreme, in which a very egotistical ping pong player just cares about himself. I gave that 3 stars. It was fine. I watched People We Meet on Vacation, which is based on the book. I thought it was a good representation of the book, but I didn't like the book and I didn't like the movie for the same reason, because it's just a bunch of codependent idiots who take 10 years to tell each other that they actually love each other and meanwhile sabotage all their other relationships. I gave that a 3 stars. Then I watched Before I Fall with my daughter. That's about a bunch of mean girl bitches who get stuck. One of them gets stuck in a Groundhog Day time loop until she discovers that the way to get out of it is by being a kind person. But then the ending, don't even get me started on the ending. I gave that a 2 stars. Then I watched If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, in which a mother is drowning under the weight of burden and responsibility whilst caring for their sick daughter, and her house is filled with water. It's just a really fucking depressing movie. It's one of those movies that left me in a bad mood after watching it, because it's just so heavy with the mental health stuff. So I gave it a 3, but yeah, it's one of those movies that just, I find it hard to shake afterwards, the energetic residue, so to speak. Then there was Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. So this is about a man who's claiming to be from the future, where social media and AI have destroyed the world. So he holds hostages at a LA diner and picks from the hostages his crew to try and save the world. If you have any sensitivity to school shootings, do not watch this film, okay? I thought it was good. I gave it 4 stars. Now, I did DNF some books. So I did DNF Aubrey Wants to Die. This was on my most anticipated reads. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm sorry. This is about an immortal vampire who, wants to die because her boyfriend, whom she believed was her soulmate, has broken up with her. This woman needs to learn how to decenter men in her life. I'm like, I ain't got no time to read about a woman who is centering men and she's hundreds of years old. Like, girly, come on. So I DNF'd it. I was listening to How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates by Shaylee Thompson. This is a slasher rom-com. The audiobook was good. It is about a slasher rom-com obsessed woman who must survive a speed dating massacre by applying her horror movie logic knowledge, whilst she also falls in love with kind of 2 guys. It's a love triangle. I was enjoying it, I must admit, until, look, she goes through the rules. One of the rules being never split up. Tell me why these motherfuckers be splitting up every 5 minutes. Like, I was like, are they for real right now? Oh, they're splitting up again. Oh, now they're splitting up from their split up teams again. Oh, now they've all come together and half their team is dead. But, oh no, they decide to split up once again. I could not. I'm like, no. If there are 8 of you, even if the killer is amongst you, that's 7 to 1. It's going to be pretty hard for him to kill you slyly if you're all together all the time. And even if you start slashing, like I said, there's 7 of you to take them down. So I couldn't. I just find that I can't suspend my disbelief. I just get irate because I think they're making just stupid decisions. There is tons of references obviously to horror movies and rom-coms in this as well, but she also is telling you everything, so I don't know if it'll appeal to everybody, but yeah. Then I listened to half of The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. This had dual narrators, as did How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. This is a historical queer gothic horror fantasy, and it is about a centuries-old monster hunter who has to reunite with his ex-lover, a man, to stop a legendary beast, the Beast of Gévaudan, whilst he's navigating like politics and demons and emotional damage. I was just failing to care.
And that's why I decided to DNF. If I'm halfway through this big book and I just don't care about any of the characters, it's set in dual POV. So you have Sebastian's POV, the monster hunter, and then you have one of his group's POV that is a succubus named, what was her name? Olivia. I didn't like how Olivia was being treated. She's a succubus. Her type of monster feeds by like fucking a man and draining him dry while she's riding them. And she was shamed for it. She was starved, and yet Sebastian, who's riding shotgun with another demon in his body, lets that demon feed off human souls. So I'm like, why is he allowed to feed? But you're shaming Olivia for doing what's also in her base nature. So I don't know, there's something about like the way the women were being portrayed I didn't jive with. It was very long. It was very slow paced. A lot of animals get killed. And like I said, halfway through, I just didn't care. So I decided to let that go. I say if you want a Beast of Gévaudan hit, maybe also watch Brotherhood of the Wolf. That might be your thing. All right, now on to the books I've read. Like I said, there's a lot and I have to speed run it because I am going out today. So I read All the Snake Handlers I Know Are Dead by Dennis Danvers. So this is a short novella. I think it's like about 38 pages. It's a magical realism, Appalachian gothic litfic, I would say. And it is about a solitary, crazy woman who decides to build a house in Appalachia on a mountaintop and then finds her isolation unraveled by a strange man, a fuck ton of rattlesnakes, and some meth heads. The main character is very much, I just want to live alone on a mountaintop with my dog, mind my business, build a cute cabin, watch some sunsets. But then a mysterious cryptic man appears who appears to speak parcel tongue and can solve her rattlesnake problems in a very supernatural kind of way. And then also too, she's plagued by meth head robbers who like to her shit up. And it's all about, will she find love with her snake charmer, or will she be on the receiving end of a death rattle? The main themes in this were isolation and connection, and the bird is a word, the blurred boundary between myth and reality. I'm going to read you a quote from the book, and hopefully Past Chanel's done me a solid and actually airdropped the screenshot. Recently saved. What have we got? Let's try and find it. Not that one. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm not stupid. Alarm bells are ringing through that valley like a city on fire, but I chose to ignore them, as they say, was too busy competing with my own siren song. Best summer of my life. I was as hard as a rock and felt as beautiful as the clouds in the sky. I'd had my life burned down once. Least if it happened again, this time would be worth it. So I actually really enjoyed this novella. I gave it a 4.5 stars. The central relationship in this is ambiguous in a way that either some people will feel compelling or others will feel deeply uncomfortable with, depending on your taste. There is a very kinky dream scene in this that is a little bit towing the line with bestiality, but you know, it's okay. The dude in this, the love interest, does remain a mystery. So there aren't answers with that. You're just getting a bit of a taste of what's happening, a bit of a quick peek behind the curtain, but that's it. The dog does get hurt, but they live. So I do want to make that clear. I think if you like fiction that is a bit strange, a little bit unsettling, a little bit dreamlike, you'll enjoy it. If you like folklore infused storytelling, or if you like ambiguous, odd relationships, something similar to this. It was giving me Snake Eater vibes, but like I said, I really enjoyed it. 4.5 stars. Then I read The Magician of Tiger Castle by Louis Sachar. This is a historical, cozy fantasy fairy tale, and it's about a failing court magician who must destroy a princess's true love to save a kingdom. So we've got Anatole, who used to be a legend, but unfortunately he has suffered a spate of failed magic and he is falling out of favor with the king. A king on whom his job security depends and whose kingdom is financially circling the drain. So then enters the king's daughter, Princess Tulia. She's sweet, she's loyal, she's secretly in love with a guy who is absolutely not politically convenient marriage material. This scribe is also in love with her, and unfortunately their love is discovered by the prince that the princess is engaged to be married to, and he demands that the scribe be beheaded. So as both the princess and the scribe are friends of Anatole, he tries to help. So he decides to make an anti-love potion, a potion to make both of them forget the other exists. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Unfortunately, their love is real love, and destroying it feels wrong. So he has to choose between saving the kingdom and breaking true love. The main themes in this are true love versus political duty, the limits of power, moral dilemmas and personal responsibility, redemption and self-worth. And I will now read a quote from the book. "The arrow has left your bowl, Anatole," Pito said to me. He told me something one of his ancient philosophers had said. The philosopher had described an expert archer who practiced almost unceasingly. He knew how to account for the wind and the movement of his intended target. He took careful aim and judged just how much to pull back on his bowstring. But once the arrow leaves his bow, Pito said, there's no more he can do. The rest is up to the arrow. So Anatole absolutely 100% reminded me of Miracle Max from The Princess Bride. So in this world, magic is essentially a blend of like science and alchemy and like witchcraft. We start the book off in modern day because Anatole is immortal. He has cracked the fountain of youth and he's telling us about his origin story. He was also the first person really to discover penicillin, even though he wasn't credited as doing so. The book, I enjoyed it. It was very easy to read. It does read a bit like a middle grade book, I will admit. I had to go and check that it wasn't middle grade. It is also very, very light on the romance. If you're hoping that was going to be a main thing of the book, it's not. It's just about Anatole and his life. And I will also say that you don't get clear endings for all the characters involved. I think you'll enjoy it if you like the Little Prince vibe storytelling. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Flowers for Algernon for a particular component. And definitely The Princess Bride, like I said. It was giving Princess Bride, but less funny, less humor. And I gave it, what did I give it in the end? I think I gave it a 4. Yes, I gave it a 4. So enjoyed it. The next book I read was Hammers on Bone by Cassandra Khaw. This is a cosmic horror noir detective fiction, and it's about an ancient monster detective who hunts an even worse monster hiding in a kid's stepdad. So our main character's name is John, and John is a classic noir PI in that he hates everybody, he talks in problematic noir lingo, and he has a questionable moral code. Also, he ain't human. And then one day a kid steps in with his entire piggy bank to hire him to kill his abusive stepdad. And our man John is like, show me the money. But the stepdad isn't just abusive. He's a full-blown cosmic infection, and he's slowly turning the world into something that has a lot more eyeballs. Meanwhile, John is barely holding his own ancient eldritch self together. So this book is one of the ones, it's a typical classic question. Can a monster stop another monster without losing their humanity? As usual, Khaw writes with a very dense style that is dripping with viscera. However, this one is steeped in this noir voice that is cranked to an 11, even though it's set in the 2000s. So for instance, all the words, you get all the words for women like broad, dame, skirt, toots, bird. And I will say, I think some people might not find it easy to read, but surprisingly, even though I don't really like the noir lingo, it's the same issue I have with the 1920s lingo. I'm just not a fan of all the little words that they made up. I still, for some reason, just really got into this one. I got into the cadence of it. Like I said, there's a lot of detective tropes in this. It's heavy on that. They've also got the cosmic horror angle happening and a lot of very raw trauma. There is dark subject matter in this. It is quite heavy. I'm just going to give you her opening dedication to the book. To all the monsters hiding in this world, I hope the children will skin you alive. To the children in the world, Let no one say you can't make your monsters bleed. I will say too that this novella, it's a novella, also edges you with the world building and stuff. You don't get the full package. We're just getting, once again, we're just dropped in there, splashing around in the creatures and the world and the setup, and then getting right back out. So it's not in depth. It is a novella. The main themes in this are of abuse and cycles of violence, monstrosity, power versus control, corruption and infection, identity and containment, and justice in a broken system. I gave it a 3.75. I will read you a little bit of an example of the writing style. There's a pervasive smell in the hallway. Not quite a stench, but something unpleasant, like the remnants of a molly party, or old sex left to crust on skin. What about his old man? He working the kid? That why your son isn't shorn up at school? The broad twitches, shoulders scissoring back, spine contracting. It's a tiny motion, one of those blink and you lose it tells, but oh, do I catch it. My fiancé doesn't involve our sons in hard labor. I wrap ash from my cigarette and grin like the devil come to dine on Georgia. Mind if I look around? I really don't think... You gotta love the redcoats, Americans. They're quick to tell you to make with the feet, but the Brits just ain't in them to be rude. I take one last long drag before I stub out my smoke in the aging carpet and start deeper into the house, the birds' complaints trailing behind like a slither of organs. The stink grows stronger, less human, more maritime maleficence. I think you would like this book if you like gritty noir with a Lovecraftian twist, or if you like very dense poetic horror prose that's all vibes, language, and teeth. Something similar, I don't know, man. Maybe. The next book I read was Best Offer Wins by Marisa Kashino. So this is a satirical, suburban, psychological suspense thriller. And it is about a desperate home buyer who spirals into obsession and moral chaos while trying to secure her dream home at any cost. Margot just wants a motherfucking house. Not a fixer-upper, not something full of potential, just a normal dream home. No home, no baby. No baby, no life. After 18 months of losing bid after bid after bid after bid, her sanity is hanging on by a freaking thread. And so is her marriage. Until the perfect house appears. And instead of just putting in an offer like a normal person, Margot decides to casually stalk the owners online, to swing by the house just to check the vibes, to infiltrate their lives like a psycho. What starts as doing her research quickly turns into committing several crimes. But hey, in this market, you got to do what you got to do to seal the deal. This was a very addictive domestic thriller about a very relatable modern nightmare, you know, trying to buy a home. Talk to any millennial and they will tell you what it's like. Margot, the main character, is very messy, impulsive, absolutely unhinged. But it makes for a very compelling read. You cringe and you do that, and you also kind of understand how she's been brought to this point, because how far will someone go when they have felt stuck and powerless for so long and they've finally seen a glimmer of hope? I think also if you've ever looked at real estate listings at 2 a.m. and thought, man, I could really fix my whole life with a better kitchen and natural sunlight, the book will hit. The main themes in this are of obsession and desperation, marriage under pressure, housing insecurity, boundaries, the dark side of ambition and control versus chaos. If I'd learned anything from my parents' fucked up marriage, it was that making the other person think they're in control when they're really not is often the easiest way to win a fight. As I said, the chick is unhinged. I'm not really a thriller fan per se. I've given this a 3.5 stars though, because it was an addictive, quick read. I just blitzed through it, and I'm kind of glad it went off the rails bonkers. So it was interesting in that way. I did not like all the pandemic stuff. So this is set after COVID, while they're sort of still in COVID. So COVID talk, vaccines and masks and yada yada is still in there, which I don't love. I think you'll like it if you like really fucked up, messy women. You could say she's morally grey, but I don't think so, dude. I think she's very much gone to the dark side. And I think you'd like it if you've ever lost a bidding war and also considered going to the dark side. Similar books and vibes. Once again, not a thriller reader, so I'm not really sure, but it was giving me Yellowface vibes. a little bit. Because in the beginning you kind of are rooting for her, and you kind of think, well, yeah, it's a little deranged what she's doing, but it could land them the house and no one is getting hurt. The sellers get their money, they get their dream home, you know, it's fine. And then, like I said, it's fine, and then all of a sudden it's very much not fine. I then picked up The Extraordinary History of Witches by Hazel Atkinson and illustrated by Camelia Pham. So this is a book about witchcraft and folklore and history, and it's a globe-spanning kid-friendly guide to witchcraft history, exploring magic, myths, and the real stories behind the word witch. It was very engaging, visually magical, and it's a good introduction to witchcraft history for younger readers. So there were lots of themes of power and fear of women throughout history, misunderstanding and persecution, cultural diversity in magical traditions, reclaiming the word witch, curiosity, knowledge, and storytelling. The illustrations are stunning and they add a very whimsical, enchanting layer. You've got rich, saturated palettes and colors that are sometimes used to single culture, mood, and magic type. There was also highly diverse and inclusive representation in this. It was just a very soft, inclusive witchcraft meets enchanted storybook for younger readers. Like I said, I didn't realize this was for younger readers, but after beginning to read it, I'm like, oh, this is for kids. This is for kids. But it was very beautiful to look at. So that is what I've read thus far. My God. What else? I'm listening to something right now. I think it's called Workhorse. So I'm listening to that. I am about to finally go to the library. So I want to pick up, was it Graceless Heart today? I am going to a gallery as well. So that's for my Lilu vlog finally. Might grab some Lamingtons to try. I'm getting my hair cut later today, so hopefully I don't hate it. But that's what's on the agenda, so I'll touch base with you later. This is really good. Okay, I have returned. Let us do the library haul. I picked up Sofa by Sam Munson. I am almost all the way through this, so I've only got 10 pages left. It is a deckled edge. God, I hate deckled edges. But I think I'm going to put this in a Get Real Weird With It blog, because it is a bit of a weird one. It is about a family who one day they wake up to find that their sofa has been replaced with this old sofa, and then creepy shit starts to happen. I have Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez. I don't think I'm going to read it for this vlog. Love the cover. Oh my God, gorgeous. Isn't that stunning? It's beautiful. I think I am going to do this in the next one because this is a chonker. Yes, it's 466 pages, and I would like to finish this vlog tomorrow. I've decided, because I don't want it to get too long in the tooth, and I just feel like starting a new reading vlog since I've read a decent amount of books for this one. So I'm going to save this for the new reading vlog. We have Just Watch Me by Leo Torenberg. So this was one of my most anticipated reads for the year, so I'm excited. It says it's Fleabag meets Big Swiss. I like both of those. And it is about a misfit who live streams her life 24/7 for 7 days to raise money to save her comatose sister. I think she eats ghost peppers every day as well. So it sounds wacky and fun, and this one is only 270 pages. So I might try to read this one for this reading vlog, we shall see. I also picked up A Bad Bad Place by Frances Crawford. This does say it is a murder mystery set in 1979. I'm probably not going to like this, but like I said, I always just grab whatever is on their new release shelf. I just take it home and then I decide, do I actually want to read this or not? And then we've got Fairies, A History in Art, Verse and Law by Nikki van der Kar. So this had a beautiful, beautiful cover. It's got illustrations and artwork inside. So I don't know if I'll end up reading this. I might just flip through. If I just flip through the pages, I don't rate them, I'll just mark them as read. But yeah, I think this might be one where I might just look at the artwork rather than actually read it. But I'll see, maybe it's written really well and I'll get immersed in it. I feel like I'm talking weird because I can't hear myself speak because I have had a POTS episode. I'm also breaking out in a rash. I grabbed a Tokyo Lamington, so I grabbed 2 since my kids are going to my mum's while I get my hair cut today. I got a Pandan Misu for them. They've given me the wrong ones. No. No. It's not gluten-free. I don't even know what this one is. Maybe it's mango. That sucks because it means my daughter and I can't eat any of them since she also has to go gluten-free for the next 2 months. Fuck. Oh well. No sweet treat for me. I should have checked. I never check because obviously that was all packaged up, so I just assumed they put the right ones in there. I meant to get myself a damson plum and chocolate gluten-free Lamington, but did not. However, look, that Lamington latte was freaking phenomenal, so I'm not too upset. Now there's more for indeed my mum and my stepdad, so it's all good. I might get started on this, we'll see, or I might do something on my e-reader because I'm going to the hairdresser. I just don't want to get hair dye on anything, but we'll see how we go. And then, like I said, tomorrow hopefully I will be finishing this vlog off with one more book. Okay guys, I'm back. What do you think? I had some layers cut into it, had my fringe trimmed. I'm pretty happy. Nothing too drastic, but it feels like a change. Bluebell. But sorry, I'm trying to move around blue. I will be finishing this vlog today because I did read 75 pages of this. Unfortunately, the main character is the biggest brat. She's just irresponsible, doesn't take responsibility for her actions. She's rude and arrogant and a thief. She's just not a good person. So I couldn't root for her. They say, oh, she's trying to make money to save her sister, but she's just really selfish. And I can't read this kind of book if I hate the main character. So instead I went on to When the Museum is Closed by Emi Yagi, translated by Yuki Tejima. Bluebell. I'm trying to work around the cat. This is a queer magical realism lit fic. So this is about a lonely woman who takes a job at a museum speaking to a statue that comes alive, and she ends up falling in love with it. So every Monday when the museum closes, Rika clocks into her job that requires her to speak Latin to the Venus statue or the Aphrodite statue. They chat, they vibe, they emotionally bond. This is one of those very sort of quietly weird and slightly absurd novels. The conversations between Rika and Venus were ones exploring loneliness, connection, and what it means to be seen. There was a lot about is love less real just because it's unconventional? Is a perfect object easier to love than a flawed human? It looks like I have sideburns. And what does it say about us when we choose sort of the fantasy over reality? For some reason, that's giving sideburns. That's so weird. The book was very soft, strange, melancholic. It felt like wandering through an empty gallery whilst humming to yourself and wearing a yellow raincoat. For me, yeah, it just wasn't really for me. I've given it a 3 stars. It just didn't really do anything for me. I think you would like this book. I'm sorry about Bluebell. If you are fans of girl has feelings for something that she shouldn't, or if you're a lover of the quiet, artsy, nothing really happens except feelings kinds of books. Similar stuff to this, maybe Convenience Store Woman, the photocopier one hard copy, I think that was what it was called, maybe Lars and the Real Girl. But that was the final book, so I'm going to sum up all the books I read for you now. All the Snake Handlers I Know Are Dead by Dennis Danvers, which I rated a 4.5 and was my favourite read of this reading vlog. Build a Cabin, Meet a Snake Charmer.
The Magician of Tiger Castle by Louis Sachar. Love is Magic. Unfortunately, so is erasing it. Hammers on Bone by Cassandra Khaw, which I gave a 3.75. Noir, but everybody has way too many eyeballs. Best Offer Wins by Marisa Kashino. I gave this a 3.5. When House Hunting Becomes a Blood Sport. The Extraordinary History of Witches by Hazel, Atkinson and Camelia, Pham, which I gave a 3.5, but I don't rate those online because I'm not a middle grader. Witches, Misunderstood Since Forever. And my last book was When the Museum is Closed by Yagi, translated by Yuki Tejima. I gave this a 3 stars. This love story is set in stone. So those were all the books that I read this time around. If you had to fall in love with an inanimate object, what object would you pick? Obviously, I think the most suitable would be some sort of human-shaped statue or blow-up doll or something of the like. But if I had to pick some other weird object, probably a tree. I am a bit of a tree hugger already. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.